Let's talk cash flow. If you're a business owner, you know how hard it can be to make big growth decisions without fully understanding how all the numbers are connected. So that's why we created Cash Flow Mountain. It's a simple visual to help you identify what we can control to accelerate progress toward our long-term goals. From a high level, we can see that it all begins with activity. So we have a team of amazing people in the marketing and sales department, in the operations, the finance, the leadership team. They're all focusing on key activities that ultimately drive results. We're going to see those results in the profit and loss statement, in the balance sheet, in the cash flow. Ultimately, though, what those are all designed to aim toward the long-term goals that you might have. If you run on EOS, you probably have a VTO that has some long-term goals and hopes and desires that you have for the business. It's really important to start with that end in mind so that we can make sure that the entire system is aligned and supporting that vision. Where we can start the cash flow picture is ultimately at the top of the mountain. So blue represents the dollars flowing through the business. And there are some things that we want to maximize. Those are listed in green, and some that we want to minimize. So a lot of things we want to maximize have to do with the revenue, the profitability, the assets that we end up accumulating on the balance sheet. And the things we want to minimize are the variable costs, the fixed expenses along the way. And so if we start at the top of this mountain, we have a few different types of ways that dollars can be generated, that cash flow can begin. And one of those is the organic revenue, seasonal rains that are going to come regardless of what we do from a sales perspective. We also have recurring revenue that is just going to be existing customers that keep working with us and keep paying us to deliver value. But the key activity that the sales and marketing team are focused on, we call it the top line pump house. This is where new dollars enter into the system, and that begins a flow down the mountain. The first place we hit where dollars run out, we call it Cogs Creek. So these are the variable expenses that only go up or down in relationship to the revenue that we generate. If we have a big month, we're going to have more direct costs that go out. If we have a smaller month, less direct costs go out. That puts us in a position to see the gross profit. We call this the margin stream. The next spot we hit is OpEx falls. This is where the fixed expenses every month, it's the cost of running the business regardless of how much revenue we do. So think rent, insurance, all the expenses that don't change month to month. We see those dollars flow out. That gets us to EBITDA pond. EBITDA stands for earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. Long name, I know. But really, it's helpful to think about what it's after. So yes, it's before interest and taxes go out, but it's really helpful to understand really what that key metric is. And it's after the performance of the business this month when we account for all of the expenses. Once we account for interest and taxes, that gets us to the profit stream where we see net profit. That begins to accumulate in what we call liquidity water towers. So these are our assets on the balance sheet. And these are not just free dollars for us to do whatever we want with. We have to make sure that we're taking into consideration improvements that we need to make to the business to keep everything sustainable and on track. And we also have to take into consideration loans and outstanding debts and liabilities that we have committed to. When there's leftover, that begins to trickle over into opportunities pond. It becomes resources that are available for us to further live the life of meaning that we care about and pursue the vision of what we hope for in the long run for the business. So if you're making big decisions and aren't sure how to think about when can we afford to hire the next person or expand to the next location or replace the truck that needs to be replaced, this is a helpful way to create an objective view of what's happening and an understanding so that the whole team can make an aligned decision and it's a unified push forward into the growth that you see available. So if you want to talk about your business, we'd love to chat. Connect with us at Amplify.Business, and we're looking forward to talking. Thanks.